Hello, and welcome to Blades and Banners, a Tales of the Valiant actual play show set in the Eberron campaign world. It is Friday, so we are here with an episode of our Q&A show, The Ship's Log, and we are joined by Colin. Hey, buddy.
Hi, what's up, brother?
Yeah, it has been I think this is only the second time since the campaign started that we've had Colin
Yeah,
for this.
nobody wants to talk to me. It's cool. I don't either. It's fine.
So we've gone to 25 episodes in.
Really?
Yeah, well, I guess 26 now. We just dropped 26 this past Monday.
Man.
So we are we're cooking along with it.
Doesn't feel like we've been doing that long. We have covered a lot of ground, though, I guess.
Yeah.
We've done a lot already. Okay.
Yeah, it's moving. We didn't quite kick off with the level of thing that we did, because I think Kyber Shards, I think we were like 4 episodes in when we had Donabella introduced, and that turned way heavier than I had quite expected it to. And so that was we dove headfirst in.
I mean, we also started with everything exploding, so
that's true. That's true.
We literally hit the ground running.
That is literally so, yes. Well, we have a bunch of questions for and about Finnian. So
do I.
Let's dive in.
Is he going to be here today?
So we start with a handful of questions from Josh.
Hi, Josh.
Does Finnian have any theatrical or other performing arts experience? And if so, what sort?
Why would you ask me that, Josh? What is the accusation about me here that you think the theater would be a thing I'm comfortable with? No, he doesn't. Finnian does not like the spotlight. There's really never been a look at me side to Finnian, and that's what performing arts has felt to him. Loves a good story, but was never called to it. I mean, you know these people, Philip. If he had been in college with us, he would absolutely have been a tech guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would have absolutely loved one man soloing the lighting grid. And then sitting back in the rafters and going, yeah, I did that. But no, never any desire to perform. I would say young age required to do like the class singing and stuff. He was the kid not even mouthing along. He would like pretend to clap in rhythm. And performing is not his thing.
Nice. What is Finnian's favorite creative medium, both to work in and to consume?
Finnian is a big fan of music. He is the big singer-songwriter kind of a guy. He loves a bard, loves a tale of heartache and woe woven in song. Doesn't work in it, but if you were to go through his workbooks of different projects and blueprints, there's a few poems in there. He's not one who has in his history really loved and lost, but he is one who hasn't ever really loved. And so there's that kind of foreign alien romance to him of, these things that the bards are singing about. What is that like? That I just don't understand it, but it sounds so wonderful. So if you catch him solo out at the tavern, we first met him scribbling his blueprints on the arm pad because the gang was all there. But if you see him out by himself, he will be very much tuned in to the performances being given. Following the tales told. Grew up a big campfire story fan. Cool. So yeah, that's my answer there.
Nice. Does Finnian trust Malcolm's assurances that Donabella is telling the truth in her stories, or does he still doubt her tales?
That's a good question. I think he cares most about things that are of direct impact to him and his. Mm-hmm. And so stories of what things are happening in far off lands that he will never be affected by don't really matter. Yeah. So sure. Good for you, kid. I bet, I bet that's true. If it is or isn't, has equal weight to me.
Yeah.
Can we pause really fast? I'm sorry.
Sure. If Finnian could have any critter of an elementalish persuasion, such as Sam or Sam, as a friendly pet companion, what would his pick be?
I think an earth elemental. Just because the idea, I like this idea of an earth elemental, and this is just my headcanon. I have no idea what it's supposed to look like in the world of Eberron. So just in my mind, it would be like one of the golems from Elden Ring, but like a 1.5 or 2 feet tall, like Sam, like a real small, and just the little earthquakes that he would leave behind stepping because he'd still weigh like hundreds of pounds. I think that's really funny to have the Finnian with that trailing him around, and it's you know, sometimes you see a guy that looks like me that has a chihuahua and you go, it doesn't make sense, but it's perfect. And that's what I think of with Finnian and getting to like pet the head of a little rock monster. Yeah. Just like there's something so backwards about it that I think he would be drawn to that and that would be the thing that would finally make Finnian be like, he's cute.
That's really good. I like that.
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
A pet rock.
Yes. Yeah. Actual.
A couple questions from Emily.
Hi, Emily.
Your last PC often used the phrase "make more blood" to explain getting all your HP back on a long rest. Your current PC doesn't seem to like the phrase. How do you personally feel about it?
Can I be honest? I think I might be most proud of that creation. Like, I really feel like that might have been one of my strongest character choice moments with Paul. Like, saying I need to go make more blood. I haven't done his voice in so long. I couldn't remember where I went with it. But saying I need to go make more blood, it was just so on brand, so simple, so unassuming, so graphic and unoffensive at the same time. Like, it is factually what I need to do. It's the only science you ever heard Pog say. Like, I'm almost out of blood. I need to go make some more. And Finian's reaction is I never thought that phrase was coming back up. But in the moment, I tried to give the same face that Philip gave to me when Pog first used that phrase, because I think it's fair. Like, if I'm so proud of that phrase. I think that's a great encapsulation of who Pog Harad was, and the way everyone at the table kind of side-eyed and cringed a little and went, "Yep, that's you." I just went that this might be my best moment of role play, and I'm not gonna let it die. Beat it into the ground. But it is a gross phrase. It's a gross idea. Like, you know, yeesh. So Finnian's not taking the teeth of the monsters that he slays, so he's got a little bit more of a normal appetite for grotesque. So yeah, I don't think he hates it, but that's a jarring sentence to first hear.
I do strongly regret that Donabella didn't try to fist bump anybody.
I was waiting. Yeah. Oh, I was waiting. Like, man, that's another thing. I don't know why I first put the fist bump in, but man, I rode that horse to the ground, huh?
It was great.
That was a fun thing.
It was. What would Finian's favorite vampire media be? I assume this would be of the vampire media available to you and I.
Sure. His answer would be the same as mine. It's so very rarely done, but really good horror theater is unlike anything else. And I think if someone were to do like the vampire version of Cats, that would be a really immersive and horrifying thing. I've always thought that. I don't know how you do it. Like you make 30 Days of Night as a stage play.
Well, there's that vampire theater troupe in Interview with a Vampire.
Yeah. Okay, that's a little different. They just straight up eat people, Philip.
Sure.
That's not a play about vampires. It's a play of vampires. This is not this family friendly show. But I really think the thing that is aspirational for me about Finnian is I think he's an avid reader. He reads a lot of manuals for learning how artifice and engineering would work. And yet he's still one of those people that finds relaxation in the same medium that he spends most of his work in. So like an architect that goes home and draws cartoons. He's the guy who goes home and would probably really get well and lost in an Anne Rice novel more than the movie. That would be my answer. Probably a really good horror book.
Cool. Ophelia asks,
hi, Ophelia.
How are you both finding Tales of the Valiant so far? Anything you love or loathe about it?
I don't. I'm having a great time because I'm getting to play a ttrpg with some of my favorite humans. So that's an unfair advantage to any system. We could be playing, a all ages game, and I would have fun doing it with this crew. Things I love. The system is quick. We're slow players. I fear. Watching other people that are bold enough to record themselves and put it out on the internet for people to consume, they play way quicker than our table does. And it's not thoughtful. It's that we are less confident, I think. There's lots of scrolling through the character sheets, lots of premeditation that then goes wrong and we have to figure out. But I think that's fun. I like thinking and listening all through everybody else's turns and then going, oh God, nothing worked out the way I wanted it to. How do I fix this? And that doesn't change based on system to system. I couldn't say that there's anything I loathe about it. I don't think I've been in it long enough to have notes on what doesn't work. And also, much like we did with Kyber Shards, we're playing Philip's Tales of the Valiant. And so if I jumped into another game for a one shot of Tales of the Valiant, I would know how it worked, but I wouldn't know until I got to those moments. Hey, this isn't in here, or where did this come from mechanically? Because I've not read the entirety of the player's handbook because we had session 0 meetings where Philip was like, we're going to do this and we're bringing this in and we're going to speed this up and we're going to take that out. So Philip's Tales of the Valiant, big fan. Big fan. Really enjoying.
For myself, the monster design is better than anything I've seen in D20. In fairness, I haven't looked at the 2024 monster manual from Wizards, but the monster design from Kobold Press has always been really good, and I absolutely love the way that they've thoughtfully designed the monsters. Monsters have so many more things to do with like the full complement of actions. That was always a thing for me, is that monsters almost never had anything to do with a bonus action or a reaction, and they do in this. So I really like the way that monsters are designed. That's probably my top thing with it. I wouldn't say the thing I loathe. It has all of the things that D20 systems just have that that are not my favorite. I'm starting to, as an adult with an adult schedule, who does not get to play a game every week with my friends, as I might have in, if I had started playing this when I was into high school. I'm finding myself drawn towards lighter weight systems, just because the amount that can be accomplished in a session increases, and so it doesn't feel quite so much like and this is not the case with Blades and Banners, but in some other cases where I'm playing D20 systems, there's never a feeling of, man, we played that whole session and inched along just a little bit. And that does happen with D20 sometimes. I'm sure all of you have experienced that, of a session where you're like, in world time, that 3 hours of play we just did was probably about 20 minutes. And so you have that, especially with combat, because combat just, there are a lot of things going on with combat. So the things that I wish were different about Tales of the Valiant are the same gripes that I have about any D20 system, because it's just the nature of a D20 system. But in terms of things I really like, I love the way that monster design is done. Something else, I guess, I changed the way we're using luck points, because I thought that the way that luck points were used was a little bit meh. Like, it was just a single static numerical thing, based on how many luck points you spent, and that just seemed dull to me. So I don't know, rolling some extra dice seemed to be more fun to me.
Rolling is fun.
So, that's not a loathe thing. That's just a preference thing. So yeah, I wouldn't say there's anything I loathe about it. It's got the same quirks that D20 has. And so if you have complaints about D20 in its other forms, you will probably still have them about Tales of the Valiant. It doesn't lean very far from the tree. But monster design, even if you're not playing Tales of the Valiant, if you're playing a D20 system, buy this monster manual. It's really good.
Good question, Ophelia.
Yeah. Laura asks,
hi, Laura.
What would Finian's ideal pet be? And they include a parenthetical. They can never be sure after Pip.
No idea who Pip is. Crazy. Include something from other media. A micro griffin is my answer.
Nice. That's a really quick answer.
Yep. A micro griffin. I wanted to play a character with a familiar to be able to have one. Not for practical use, not to do anything with, just to especially once we decided we were going piratical, I was like, how cool to have a familiar that you can just have go flying out the window of your room and sit up on the sails. I don't know. I saw that animal and I was like, man, the way that Mia every so often will encounter something in your fiction and go, I wish that person or that thing was real because I want it. I understand her fully the first time I saw a micro griffin. I was like, I want one.
That's delightful.
I want one. That's immediate answer.
Nice. I have a wizard familiar idea that I've always wanted to do. There's a lot of fun things for wizard familiars, but there was a species of raptor, alongside velociraptors and utahraptors and all that stuff. There was a species of raptor called a microraptor that was arboreal, and it would glide and just dive on things from the branches. Yes.
I love it.
And it's like that big.
It's a flying squirrel raptor.
It's a flying squirrel raptor.
Yeah.
So
I want to go to that. It's how I die, but I want one.
Right. I don't want to go to that world, because it's extremely hostile. I want to bring one with a muzzle
to me.
Yes.
Wow.
So yes, that's my ideal wizard familiar. That and a Nicobar pigeon, because they just look like stodgy old men with long hair.
They're just the old Muppets up in the balcony.
Yeah. They're adorable.
That's what I want to grow up to be.
Trevor has a few for us.
Hi, Trevor.
Why does Finnian, or what does Finnian have against Lord Kalis and pancakes?
Those are two separate things that he has feelings on. Big fan of pancakes. Who's not? If someone says they don't like pancakes, don't trust that person. I mean, waffles are better, but like pancakes are still good. As for Kalis, I have such a hard time as a player because it was very different this run in, not as Colin, not having Eric there to play off while we encounter Lord Kalis, because our girls just got so enamored that I felt the call of responsibility of like, I don't think Philip's going to necessarily kill us right now. Like, however, we simply cannot deny that we are in the presence of an entity capable of forever altering us. Like that is that I don't necessarily have the certainty in character that this man is a vampire. What he is not like us. and it's one thing to tease with Orin and knowing that we're on the same side about like, yeah, I mean, we can play, but like, we're not staying here. Right. And it's another thing to have the other two be like, but Dad, why not? Why can't we stay? Like, hold on. So I had to play it just a little bit more passionately about like, this is a decision that will probably have consequences far longer than the quality of our sleep. At least that's how it appears to Finnian. And he's not a creature. He moved most of his flat into the ship. Like he's still got a workshop, but like the good mattress is on the ship. He's not a good with change. And that is an unsafe change to routine.
Fair enough. Slightly more story-based. What's the craziest thing he has inspected outside of the campaign with his special spectacles? This relates back to one that I jumped past, and so I wanted to pair these. Of whether Finnian, this was from Josh, of whether Finnian had any amusing anecdotes about getting his answers from touching stuff and it turning out poorly, whether from touching the thing or somebody misinterpreting what he was doing. And that seemed to pair really well with this question. So any
it pairs very well.
Craziest thing?
Yeah. However, Josh, the specifics of your question make it so good that I need you to ask again the next time we announce I'm on here. Like I really want to give some thought to that because that is such a good potential thing that I did not read over questions before we started this. And I went, oh no, that's so good. So please don't be mad, Josh. Please bring that question back to me because I want to marinate in that question. Craziest thing he's inspected. I think it is very safe to say that we're all thinking about the fact that we have the touch of the maker, right? And that gives us a lot of information. I think we're also discounting exactly how dangerous it would be while you're first getting used to having an eye patch that lets you see through walls. That X-ray. So, I mean, that would lead to some trouble. And I have not played Finnian as the kind of rascal or scoundrel or cad that would be intentionally disrespectful with that. But when you first get it, like that is going to take some, okay, so I can't wipe the sweat off my brow like this. Or like all of a sudden I'm seeing everything in night vision and it's 3 PM. Or I accidentally saw straight through the kitchen wall. Like there's so many horrible ways that goes. And I feel like where we are at by the time Finnian joins up, his past is his past. it's kind of like Rogue with the gloves. Mm-hmm. He can choose. So, it's not like everything that he picks up that has had magic or has any kind of engineering to it. He automatically like has to get flooded with the information of he's a Neo wanting to learn Kung Fu. Right. You're not going to very often accidentally learn how something works and go, oh, wish you didn't know that. So I think that more than the craziest thing inspected is probably how funny it would be to see maybe like a 25-year-old Finnian just having finished making that goggle and just constantly having to look down from seeing something he accidentally saw. Going, nope, I'm not this man. I'm not this man. But we will answer that and Josh's at the same time and better with the respect those questions deserve.
Nice. Final question from Trevor. What exactly is the loins of communication?
The loins of communication is the first time in almost 5 years of playing TTRPGs with Philip that he has made me blush. Last campaign, I flirted with him through his NPC. We made love. We got married. I blushed at loins of communication. I told the cast that there will be an unfortunate series of events that causes Finnian to completely forget he has an accent, and I no longer have to worry about things like loins. Won't be an issue anymore.
It was opening the loins of communication.
We'll get the open loins of communication. Yeah,
and I think the thing that really sold it to me was Casey going, "Ooh."
Casey's active listening is a joy.
So good.
A joy.
All right. Our last set of questions come from our very own Mia.
I'm not saying hi to Mia.
And Mia asks, how does it feel for Finnian to be a face character more than Pog was?
Intimidating.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was intimidating at the outset, and then it's also come back around to being intimidating with Eric having had his absences, which are for a great reason. God bless. Break legs. I didn't
become a loan shark. That's why.
Yeah. Not theatrical. That'd be 3 theater references and 1 Q&A. Come on. I didn't realize how much of a weight I was to my castmates playing Pog, because aloof is a special challenge to play, but it's another special challenge to play around. And there's a pressure to being a face, being expected to know the right questions, have ideas. Playing a character like I had previously, it was much easier for me to bow out of something.
Yeah.
Hand it off, make fun of it, or get to play off my own stupidity by asking for more clarification because I was playing a simple person. You're going to need to explain more of that to me because Colin also doesn't know it. It's intimidating. I hope I'm doing all right, castmates. I hope I'm doing all right by you guys. It's never really been where I thought I'd wind up playing a TTRPG, but I'm enjoying the challenge of it. And no one has kicked me out of the game yet, so at least there's that.
It was a try, but
yeah. But look who's here now, Eric. Give me your response. Go ahead. I'll wait.
And then
I don't know why I was so zesty with that right there.
I loved it. Our last question, also for Mia. Also, how does it feel to leave your crewmate hanging when she needed help coming up with a scrutinous question?
Oh, it feels delightful. It feels so good. Honestly, it's one of the first times that I felt like a person with some time under my belt, because I really understood Mia in that moment. Mm-hmm. I really did. And I also know how it feels for someone to go, oh, you got to do this.
Yeah.
This is you. Because I love the right amount of table talk. I love a respectful kind of metagaming, but like she and I discussed with everyone in the call after the recording, like, hey, this is a big moment. You have unlimited potential right now. You can be the only one that has that, because the player, Colin, didn't make a character that would give me this kind of opportunity. And so I am restricted, and that's a beautiful consequence for us, because it's also really fun to hear Mia go, Mia wants to know this answer. Mm-hmm. But so Heine wouldn't think about that.
Right.
And right. I mean, are you kidding me? That the amount of times I said that in Kyber Shards of going, God, if only Pog was smart enough to think about this. I love it. As a player, I love that little like twist that you get in your stomach of going, oh man, I can't make this happen this way. So yeah, it felt great, Mia. It's so much fun. Mostly because we all like teasing each other a little bit, and got to watch a cartoon squirm just a little bit.
Excellent. Well, that is all of our questions for this week. Thank you all so much for these questions. It's always fun to dive into these when we get to do them. Mm-hmm. And thank you to Colin for being here to answer them.
I'm just here. I'm just if
you'd like to submit questions, you can do that over on our Discord. You can find a link to that in the description down below. New episodes of Blades and Banners drop on Mondays, and the Ship's Log on alternate Fridays. And until next time, thanks for rolling with us.
Bye.